I want to appreciate you and appreciate God first and foremost because of these privileges He gives us every now and then to be among the living. There are things that is happening and it will increase, especially in these trying times. And for every Christian out there, there's a need for you to be sensitive. One of the gift of the Spirit is discernment of spirits, to know apart from the Spirit that is working in people, to know certain things that is happening and then work at it. One of the things that every child of God, especially in these last days, needs to uh, do is to be vigilant. Vigilant not of the devil alone, vigilant of things around you, things, friends, colleagues, even your spouse. I started something that I put a pause to it, and I want to start afresh again today. For some time, I've been talking about marriage, as a marriage counselor, life coach, current counselor. I like one of the things that God has given to me to do is to help people's marriage. Like I always educate people. More for than not, people do pre-counseling, and after the pre-counseling, they don't do anything about it again. And it has, every now and then they have issues. When they have issues, instead of going to a professional guidance counselor or somebody that who is trained, who have an experience in these things, they go to somebody who's uncooked, who adds traditions to it, and then add wala, put salt to the injury that they have, and then the issue skyrockets. And for some time, I've been talking about marriage, biblical view of marriage. That's a biblical view. How did God intend marriages to be? What are the procedure? What are the principles? What are the order God put in place? So, if you have missed those contents, I'm sure on our various platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, you see those materials there, those content there, all of them at Obadebola Praise, OBADEBOLA PRAISE. You see it there. You can watch the video again, can learn one or two things, and I always encourage people help us share content because you bless somebody's life. So today, still about marriage, but this time around, I want to speak about the cheating spouse. So long I have this ideology in my brain, this idea in my brain on how things ought to be done, and this is a sensitive issue that I know that every one of us is guilty about. Now, who is a cheating spouse? How, what are the signs that you see that your husband or your wife is cheating? What are the reasons behind um, men cheating and women cheating? And I came across one foolish, I call it foolish, foolish understanding, foolish statement, foolish conclusion that all men are cheaters. I don't understand where they got that from. I would say no. Came across also another conclusion that some people, because of their tribe, there are particular things that is familiar with them, peculiar with them. I don't know who came about the conclusion. I believe in power of choice. You deciding what to do. So, from now, I will be sharing on sign your spouse could be cheating, even though the main topic is the cheating spouse. And under this the main topic, I'll be talking about signs about your spouse could be cheating, then the reason why husband cheats, the reason why wife cheats, and I'll conclude with it with on how, okay, after your husband has cheated, your wife has cheated, what do you do as a child of God? So understand that infidelity can be traumatic, and it's one of the most challenging problems faced in a relationship. While many are blindsided if and when they find out about a spouse or a partner cheating, others may suspect infidelity because of actions that are out of the norm. Now understand. So I want to quickly just run through some of the things that you can see that when you observe these things, that it means that your husband or your wife is cheating on you. Now, let me okay. I will mention some of those things, and I'll try that I've written down, and I'll try as much as possible to explain. Now, cheating, every from part of the world to which I am from, Lagos, Nigeria, may not be like your own. That's why I'll try as much as possible to explain, so you can easily relate with it. Number one sign: change in communication. A breakdown in communication is never a positive sign. If you can't get your spouse to communicate or even fight with you, they no longer share their day with you, or the words "I love you" are no longer spoken, there's likely an underlying issue. So the following are some of the things that you need to consider when you see this in place. Then there's a possibility that your husband or your wife is cheating you. Number one, ignores what you say. Don't forget communication. We're talking about one of the signs is communication. So under the communication, when you observe this, ignores what you say, changes the subject to avoid an uncomfortable topic. Number three, or C, storms off without a word. D, comes up with reason why they can't talk. E, refuses to answer questions. F, make accusation rather than talking about the current problem. G, uses dismissive body language such as rolling or closing their eyes, sometimes even making a jest or a sign like a word. Then the last one, acts in a passive aggressive manner, stalling or procrastinating to avoid talking. Like I said before, signs to observe when to know that your husband or your wife is cheating on you. I said number one, it changes in communication, a breakdown in communication. The way you people talk, the way you people chat before is not like it again. And some of the things that some of the characteristics of this thing or breakage in your communication are the things I just mentioned. Ignores what you say, changes the subject to avoid uncomfortable topic, storms out without a word. So number two, appearance and hobby. When it's appearance, certainly taking care of yourself and devoting yourself to new hobbies and passion. It's not a bad thing. Like I always say to people, even in my marriage, there are basic things to which we do before. So doing more, adding more to add atmosphere, create an atmosphere for the marriage to be good is not wrong. But in this time around, when combined with suspicious behaviors, things that the person doesn't do before, things that your wife doesn't do before, things that your husband doesn't do before, then there's a need for you to begin to check this. So I mentioned below are some of the things that when it comes to appearance and hobbies, you can begin to suspect that maybe your husband or your wife is cheating on you. Right? A, your spouse is dressing nicer or has a sudden increase in interest in their appearance. It is not wrong to want to dress nice, but there's an extent to which it can go. When your spouse is not dressing nicer, when ordinarily she doesn't do that or he doesn't do that, and there's even an addition to that. Also, number B, your spouse picks up a new hobby that requires a few hours of commitment per day. When you show interest in their new hobby, their answer seems vague or they brush you off, meaning they don't want you to be involved in that new hobby. Sign to which to know whether your spouse is cheating on you. Number one, communication. Number two, appearance and hobby. And in C, under appearance and hobby, your mate is working longer and longer hours at work. It is not wrong. if the first problem, the first sign, if I may say, is if there's communication in place, your spouse should be able to tell you, so this is what is happening. No, I may be working longer hours. But if that is not put in place, then and he or she starts saying, I'm working longer hours, sometimes even they don't come home till the next day, then you need to begin to be suspicious about this and find a way to combat it, or else it will get out of hand. Number three, attitude changes. We know that the general saying for attitude, have a good right attitude, you have a better altitude. Altitude means you go far in life. Now, in respect to marriages, your spouse may experience work stress or problems with other relationships that can lead to changes in attitude. The following might be a sign of infidelity. The following might be a sign of unfaithfulness, but they can also signal other issue. Your spouse exhibits signs of low self-esteem. B, you notice your spouse has a sense of confusion about him or her. They are not focused again. C, your spouse seems to want danger or thrills in their lives. Don't forget changes in their attitude, behavior pattern, character, the things he or she doesn't do before, she begins to do it, or he begins to do it. These are the signs to which you need to look into. Your spouse is more negative than before. In this part of the world, Lagos, Nigeria, we have what we call pidgin English. Let me use the pidgin English. Body too, they bite the person. Every small thing, he or she is always negative. All body too, they pepper. That's pidgin English. Pepper the person. Now, like I said from the beginning, it may be because of stress, and sometimes it may be because the person is cheating on the spouse. Also, consider your spouse becomes more critical of you. When I say critical, all these the forbearance, some of the characteristics of love is not there again. The forbearance, the tolerance is not there again. Your spouse seems to be picking fights more often. This one also is dicey with the clause, because it can be due to stress, and sometimes because somebody else outside is doing your work, so your spouse is not seeing you the way he or she sees you. So he or she is always picking the fight, because there's no respect again, there's no honor again, there's no regard again, more often with you, because somebody else is doing your job. So he or she is seeing that person better than you. It means to him or her, you are useless. So also consider your spouse gets very defensive if you mention infidelity or affairs. They begin to defend themselves. So I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. These are signs when it comes to changes in attitude. Under that, the last one is when you ask for reassurance about cheating, you do not feel satisfied with the response. Somebody who's defending himself or herself that I'm not cheating on you, how do you expect that person to assure you that he or she is not cheating on you? Let me quickly remind you the things that we are discussing today. The cheating spouse. These are the last days. One of the things that challenges me about unbeliever is they are dogmatic. They are not liberal like Christian. There are things that they don't allow, but because of the liberalism of Christianity, we do certain things. We call certain people names, pet names. Like I always tell people, there are names you can't call my wife. The name is meant to be called by me. There are names she can't call someone else. There are places you are not allowed to touch the opposite sex. So this liberal nature of Christianity has put many into trouble. I am not saying it's wrong, but a lot is happening today in the world that you dare not joke with these things. But some of us are joking with these things, and it's causing a lot of damages in our home. So we're talking about the cheating spouse. So for today, I've been talking about sign to show that your spouse is cheating, that your spouse is unfaithful. I talked about communication breakdown. I talked about changes in attitude. I talked about changes in hobby and appearance. So consider these things. Let me talk about the fourth one, and next time I will continue on it. One, breakage in attitude, changes in attitude, breakdown in communication, their appearances, and hobby. Number 4, lying and avoidance. One of the signposts to a cheating spouse is lying and avoidance. Dishonesty in marriage is a red flag. Dishonesty. When we're growing up, where they say honesty is the best policy. But when you now begin to experience that every now and then your spouse lies, your spouse is not honest to you, that is a red flag. And let me even say here, for all my singles out there, you have somebody you want to get married to and is a great liar, and you're a child of God. Don't forget, the devil is the father of all lies. And you say you want to settle down with somebody that you cannot trust with his or her words, and you are saying you will still want to go ahead, then something must be wrong with your Christianity. So below are these avoidance strategy may indicate that your spouse may be cheating. Lying and avoidance. You feel as if you are being avoided. Sign to show that your spouse is cheating on you. When you feel as if you are being avoided, they don't want to go places or do things with you anymore. You guys go out together, flex together, all of a sudden to even walk on the streets or do things on the streets has now become a big challenge for him or her. You find your partner has been lying to you about variety of things. Your spouse friend seems anxious around you. Your spouse seems more secretive. One of the things that kill marriages today is secrets. Even Christians keep secret from themselves. When it comes to money, when it comes to family, when it comes to business, when it comes to ministry, they can't tell their spouse everything. And I heard somebody came up years ago that said you can keep secret, and I said that's a lie. So another thing, your partner abandons religious faith. This is even heavy. When your partner now feels that your faith is nonsensical to her or to him, he stopped going to church, she stopped going to church, she stopped believing in God, stopped believing certain things like the sensitive areas, the tithing, the giving, then check it very well. Your spouse wondering if seems out of control. Your spouse wondering I seems out of control. They stay one place in pidgin English, or they stay one place, always up and down, and the only person that goes up and down is the devil, and he has one purpose, 3 purpose: to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Finally, on that, your spouse accuses you of cheating on them. This is another strategy. So before you accuse me, I accuse you. So it is important for you to understand these things and then begin to check it. 1, sign to show that your spouse is cheating on you: lying and avoidance, breakdown of communication, changes in attitude, changes in appearance, And when it comes to hobby, number 5, the last one, let me add the last one to it. When your okay, number 5, indifference. When your spouse shows apathy or lack of interest. Now, let me put a pause here. When it comes to cheating, uh, I have this definition of cheating. For the fact that you are a married man or you're a married woman, somebody asks you, are you a married man or a married woman? You say no. Then that's the beginning. I don't need the husband to be around. I don't need the wife to be around to let people know I'm a married person. When you go about, when you know you are married, going about telling people you're not married or showing to people that you are not married. When you go about removing your ring in your hand so that people don't know you are married, then I have a challenge with that. To me, it is cheating. When you go about, like I said before, I was saying that when I was talking in between, when I was speaking concerning those characteristics of the things that you see. When you go about accepting things from the opposite sex, and they having the understanding that you are not married, like I said, there are certain names you shouldn't call somebody else's wife. There are certain names, there are certain places you shouldn't talk somebody else's spouse. But when you as a person, you as a man or a woman, begin to accept such names, such touch, such parts, such hug, then you are cheating on your spouse. Now, it is not only about having sexual intercourse until you guys have sex with each other. Okay, that's when you are not cheating. No. There are certain attitude, there are certain ways, there's certain behavioral pattern that you exhibit. You are cheating on your spouse. So I don't need to have sex with the opposite sex to have committed infidelity. No, I don't have to. And today, many people claim they are not cheating on their spouse. Invariably, they are really cheating on their spouse because other things they are doing it. They collect money from a woman and then they spend on the family, say they are helping the family, and they lie because they are giving the other woman a favor or they are giving the man a favor. So that being said, the last one, number 5, when your spouse is the last one is number 5, indifferent. When your spouse show apathy or lack of interest in things that they used to love, communicate with them to see if there is another reason for the change in engagement. But if you also suspect infidelity, these changes may be further indication of an affair. So these are some of the things that you need to look into. Your spouse seems bored with you, bored with your job, bored with the children, bored with hobby, even life in general. There's something is wrong somewhere. Your spouse has become lazy, especially around the house. Your spouse doesn't show any jealousy about you, even when it comes to the opposite. No matter what you say, your spouse is indifferent to family events like birthdays, parties, and holidays. That being said, it is important. All these things are some of the things I foresee is already happening in Christian home. And if you as a child of God, you're not vigilant about these things, God forbid that your home will break. Like I said before, Christians are too liberal to the extent whereby they allow so many things to creep in. But the Bible says, little fox that destroys the vine. We are so too liberal and we allow so many things to come into our marriage, and they will blame it on the devil. Let me put a stop to this by His grace. Next week we'll continue on this. Please help us share our content. Somebody somewhere needs this to hear this. Not because we are looking for money. We are looking for money actually. Not because we are looking for money or looking for viewership, but we are looking for how to impact people, how to be a blessing to people. So you help us to share this content on our various platforms. It will not do you ordinary share on groups, on pages, to individuals that needs to hear this, and the Lord bless you once again in Jesus' name. You need to speak to a counselor. I'm sure you see on the screen or on the caller our numbers that you can call so that you can speak to somebody, connect to somebody so that they can have time to counsel and pray with you. These are the last days that a lot of things is happening, and you want to be protected against those things. Shalom.
Your mercies are new every morning. This is everlasting. This is never ending. Your covenant is sure. Your kingdom has no end. This is everlasting. Over Allah. Ọlọ́run ìyanu ní gbogbo ọ̀nà ẹ ṣé o ọba aláàánú Ọlọ́run ìyanu ní gbogbo ọ̀nà ẹ ṣé o.
From my cradle days, I have never seen you forsake your beloved. It is not what you do. Now I'm older, I clearly see that. Oh, your banner over me is love. This is just who you are. Oh, but Allah. Ọlọ́run ìyanu ní gbogbo ọ̀nà ẹ ṣé o ọba aláàánú Ọlọ́run ìyanu ní gbogbo ọ̀nà ẹ ṣé o.
You are word made flesh, manifesting our presence. Ní gbogbo ọ̀nà ẹ ṣé o. One who bore my iniquities, cross of Calvary paying for my sins. Ní gbogbo ọ̀nà ẹ ṣé o. Ọba aláàánú.